Behind Saint-Lazare train station by Henri Cartier-Bresson. There is a photograph taken in Paris in 1952 that has never stopped moving, quite literally. A man leaps over a flooded courtyard behind the Gare Saint-Lazare, his silhouette suspended above a mirror of still water, caught in a fraction of a second that feels eternal. This is Behind the Gare Saint-Lazare by Henri Cartier-Bresson, and it is, by many accounts, one of the most important photographs ever made. To understand why, we need to understand the man behind the camera. Henri Cartier-Bresson was born in 1908 in Chanteloup-en-Brie, a small town east of Paris. He came from a wealthy family of textile manufacturers. His great-uncle was the painter Henri Cartier-Bresson the Elder, and from a young age he was drawn not to commerce, but to art. He studied painting under the Cubist master André Lotte in the late 1920s, an education that would permanently shape his eye for geometry, balance, and the underlying structure of visual experience. His turn to photography came after a trip to West Africa in 1930, where he contracted blackwater fever and nearly died. Returning to Europe, he picked up a Leica, a small, discreet 35mm camera, and never looked back. The Leica was revolutionary for its time. Light, portable, unobtrusive. It allowed Cartier-Bresson to move through the world like a ghost, capturing life without disturbing it. In 1947, he co-founded Magnum Photos alongside Robert Capa, David Seymour, and George Roger, arguably the most influential photography agency in history. But even within that constellation of giants, Cartier-Bresson stood apart. He gave the world a philosophy as much as a body of work. He called it l'instant décisif, the decisive moment. The idea that within the flow of any scene, there exists a single perfect instant where form and content align absolutely, where the geometry is right, the emotion is present, and the meaning is complete. Miss it by a fraction of a second, and it is gone forever. Behind the Gare Saint-Lazare is the decisive moment made manifest. Look at the photograph. A man is mid-leap crossing a flooded area behind the train station. He appears to be jumping from a makeshift ladder or plank. You can see the wooden slats sinking into the water below him. His body is in full motion, one leg extended forward, arms back, a silhouette of pure kinetic energy. And below him, perfectly reflected in the still water, is his own mirror image, as if time itself has doubled, showing both the act and its echo simultaneously. This mirroring is the visual heart of the image. The real world above and the reflected world below create a duality, solid and liquid, motion and stillness, the concrete and the ephemeral. The man leaps through reality. His reflection leaps through illusion. Cartier-Bresson understood that the puddle was not just water. It was a second composition, a gift from the city. But look further. The background is dense with detail, an ornate iron fence, Haussmann-era rooftops, and most strikingly a circus poster reading Rylowski, featuring a leaping acrobat. The figure in the poster and the figure in the foreground are doing precisely the same thing. Both are airborne. Both are caught mid-flight. Cartier-Bresson did not arrange this. He saw it. That is the distinction. The genius here is not creation, it is recognition. He recognized that the city, in that fraction of a second, had arranged itself into a poem. The iron fence repeats its own reflection in the water. The rooftops mirror themselves. The entire frame is a system of doubles. Nothing exists without its echo. And at the center of it all, the leaping man, the only element of true disorder, of unpredictability, of human life interrupting the geometry of the city. He is the decisive element in a decisive moment. There's also something tender in this image. The man is clearly trying not to get his feet wet. There is something universal and deeply human about that small, mundane struggle, navigating flooded ground, caught between haste and caution. Cartier-Bresson never condescended to his subjects. He found dignity in the ordinary. He found poetry in a puddle. Technically, the photograph is a study in tonal mastery. Shot on black and white film, it deploys a full range from the near white of the reflected sky to the deep blacks of the fence and silhouette. The absence of color forces your eye to read texture, contrast, and shape, and what shapes Cartier-Bresson found. The circular hoops in the lower left, possibly barrel rings, frame the composition and echo the roundness of the ripples in the water. Nothing in this frame is accidental, yet nothing was arranged. In later life, Cartier-Bresson largely abandoned photography in favor of returning to painting and drawing. He believed he had said what he needed to say with a camera. He died in 2004 at the age of 95, leaving behind a body of work that redefined what photography could be. Not documentation, not art direction, but a form of active attention to the world. A practice of seeing. Behind the Gare Saint-Lazare endures because it captures something we all recognize but rarely articulate. That between one moment and the next, between a foot raised and a foot landing, the world arranges itself into meaning. We just never have a camera ready. Cartier-Bresson did.